and welcome back. So today I'm going to talk you through my current makeup collection and my everyday makeup drawer. My everyday makeup drawer has kind of just become my makeup collection now because I don't have as much makeup. There is one drawer which is kind of to the side, which houses my lip products, which we will kind of go through in a second. But this is like the main population. This is where the majority of my makeup is. I wanted to do like an everyday makeup drawer because I know I used to do those. However, the majority of my makeup now fits in said drawer. So it just doesn't really make sense to do that anymore because I basically just use this as my everyday makeup drawer. So over on this side I have primers and foundations. I have like 2 primers and 2 foundations at the moment, which is not a lot at all. In the next one I have powders and concealers. I only have 2 concealers and I think I have like 4 or 5 powders, which is actually quite a lot. And then in the next one I have all of my bronzers. I have cream ones over here and just my normal powder ones. I then have all of my blushes. I have quite a lot of blush. Blush is definitely one of my favourite categories, and this is already overflowing. I've got like double stacked cream blushes going on. I then have some of my cream eyeshadows, mascaras, eyeliners and brow stuff all in this little bin. And then just over on this far side I've got my setting spray that I use every day. I have a couple of like face palettes, and then I do have some little eye palettes in here as well. So that's the overview. Again, I do have another drawer for my lip products, which I will go through in a second. So over here is again where I have my primers and my foundations. I have 2 beauty blenders, or they're not beauty blenders, they're Real Techniques sponges, which I like to use if and when I wear foundation, which isn't that much these days. So I have my e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, which I absolutely love, a L'Oreal Glotion, which has kind of been buried in there. I've then got my Maybelline foundation and 2 of the Rose Ink. This is probably one of my, all the writing has rubbed off. If I'm doing like a full face of makeup and I'm maybe going out in the evening or something like that, this is the foundation that I go to. This is in the shade 4W, which is quite a good match for me in the kind of spring and summer. Not super pale, but it has a little bit of warmth to it. So my favourite concealer is obviously my NYX Bear With Me. I pretty much use this almost as a foundation. It's a really good all over concealer. You can really sheer it out so that it works nicely as a foundation, but it also is a lovely concealer. It has quite a lot of pigment to it, but it's a very thin formula, so a little goes a long way. It's a very flexible, thin formula, which I just really love for every day. And this is my second one and I'm pretty much halfway through now. And then I have my powders. So I have my favourite little Hourglass trio. I've been using this a lot more recently because I just love the kind of soft focus blur that it gives the skin. They're really soft powders, very kind of easy to use. They're not your traditional setting powders, they're more of like a finishing powder. They give the skin just a nice veil of colour. They don't completely mattify the skin or anything like that. But yeah, I really love this. And I do think Hourglass palettes in general, whether it's a trio or one of their face palettes, I do think are quite good value and I get a lot of use out of those. I do have a Bite Beauty powder back here as well. I just can't seem to get rid of this. Even though Bite Beauty has not been a thing for, gosh, probably like 3 years. But I'm kind of still slowly making my way through the powder. Got significant pan, so I am determined to finish this one. Moving over to my blush and bronzers. This is like my favourite part of my makeup collection. So I have my cream bronzers on the side here. I've got my Rare Beauty, my e.l.f. Putty Bronzer, which I love, and I have a collection like contour wand. I bought this randomly in like a drugstore haul, but it's actually quite a nice bronzer. Obviously similar to the Charlotte Tilbury. It has a very interesting kind of greeny yellow undertone to it, so if you have olive undertones I think it would be a really nice colour match. I've then got a couple of highlighters back here. They're both Charlotte Tilbury because I do think that she has that Hollywood glow on lock, doesn't she, really? So I've got the cream and also one of the powders. This is really, really pretty. I'm gonna try not to swatch everything because my hands and arms only have so much space. Not when I use a lot, just because I don't typically wear highlighters, and if I do, I will kind of reach for a cream over a powder, but every now and then it is really nice and special to have a very pretty highlighter like that. I then have my bronzers, my powder bronzers here as well. I've got my Benefit Hoola hiding in the back, my Chanel, my Charlotte Tilbury, and my L'Oreal. So blush wise, I have my powders neatly stacked along here, minus this Armani one. This is more of like a blush topper, really pretty. That's the only one that doesn't quite fit in this nice row of blushes here. I haven't bought a new powder blush in quite a while. My cream blush collection seems to be growing like mad, but yeah, I haven't really bought a lot of new cream, a lot of powder blushes. And then I have all of my lovely creams. I have my favorite, or one of my favorite cream formulas, which is the Rose Ink. This one in Wisteria is probably my favorite. The texture, like you can probably see, is quite a tacky texture, but like I just love the shade. It's really nice, easy, everyday peach. And the formula is very long lasting, as are the Nude Sticks blushes. So this one is in Beach Babe, a dark kind of rosy colour, but I really like these as well. Very long lasting formula and just really handy to travel with. I've got my Armani blushes back here, my YSL, I've got a Danessa Myricks blush, a couple of e.l.f. ones, my Glossier, Rare Beauty, and then I've also got a Charlotte Tilbury one, which is kind of hiding behind there. Oh, and I have my Refi blush as well. I love this one. This is in the shade Malaya or Malia. I'm never quite sure. Quite similar to the Rose Ink blush shade. That's clearly the type of shades that I gravitate toward every day. So that's a really nice one. And I have a NARS liquid blush here. I don't think this is even, give it a bit of a shake. I don't know if NARS still makes this. This is in Orgasm, which is of course their kind of classic shade. It's got a pump. Not my favourite blush formula, I will say. I found it kind of sheared out to nothing, and it's a very watery formula, so you don't need a lot of it, but yeah, it then just kind of sheared out to nothing on the skin, so not my favourite. So you can see here is where I have some mini eyeshadow palettes, and then I have my kind of eye bin here. So in the back I've got some brow products, of course my favourite Kosas brow gel. I've got a couple of eyeliners back there as well. My current mascara, which is the e.l.f. Lash and Roll, which is just a really nice everyday mascara. Not the most dramatic, but a nice one just for a little bit of length and definition. I've got a little Armani eye tint in here. I really like this. This is in the shade 12S. It's kind of like an iridescent shade, but just quite pretty for highlighting the eyes. It's nice just tapped in the center of the eye or in the inner corner. It's pretty subtle, and the shade is also, it works really nicely for my skin tone as well. If you have light or kind of fair to light skin, I think this is a nice highlighting shade that doesn't leave too much of a cast. Sometimes I find that. I've got 3 cream shadows here. My Revlon Praline, which I absolutely love. I really didn't think I would love this as much as I do. It was a real kind of wild card for me, or maybe an underdog. It was a bit of an underdog product, but I just love this. It's very easy to wear. It has a nice amount of pigment. It's not too light, it's not too dark. Just a really good one for every day. I've then got my favourite Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. This is like just the best setting spray in the world. If you want your makeup to truly last all day, all night, and still just look really fresh, this is the one that I will go to. I've then got one of my favourite face palettes from Hourglass. God, this is old, but I just absolutely love it still. The blushes are still going strong. I don't use the powder as much because I have my other Hourglass trio, but I do think if you have one of these palettes in your collection, I don't think you will regret it. They are really well curated, and I feel like year on year they just get better and better. I do want to replace mine because again, it is quite old. It's in this lovely marble packaging, and I dread to think what iteration of the Hourglass palettes this one is, but I love it. I love this bright pink shade. It's one of my favorites. I use this all the time. It's just such a nice like brightening shade on the cheeks. I love it layered over cream products as well. And yeah, this has become a real workhorse in my collection. I love to travel with it as well because it has such a nice mirror, and this packaging is like pretty sturdy. So yes, it's done me really well when I have traveled as well. I've then just got some little palettes here. My Viseart quad, oh, I love this. This is like my wedding guest eyeshadow quad that I always pull out because it's just so pretty. It's so ethereal. I love the shimmer shades. They are just honestly like butter. I'm absolutely obsessed. It's really small and compact, and for me it just is perfect. It's a perfect, pretty kind of spring summer evening look. And that is in the shade Amelie. I really want to get some more of these little palettes from Viseart because I think they're really great. I've got my lovely Lisa Eldridge palette in Muse. Again, this is a little bit more on the kind of peachy pink side, similar to Amelie from Viseart. This one's a little bit more mauve, but yeah, I love this. These palettes are just gorgeous. Like, they're so pretty. They are so pretty. This one is in the shade Muse. They're not like super pigmented, or like, they're very workable. So if you're a little bit scared of the colours in here, honestly, they just blend out so beautifully. You can apply quite a sheer layer, or you can build it up as well. So moving over to where I have my lip products. I really love this dresser. This is from Dunelm. It's really lovely. I love the kind of fluted front to it. So this is where I keep my lip products, and I have my larger eyeshadow palettes here as well. These are all quite old now. I probably need to go through and just part ways with some of them, but some of them I really love, and I just can't bring myself to do that just yet. So I've got my lip liners there. I have some Charlotte Tilbury. I really like the NYX lip liners, to be honest. They are probably one of the best lip liner formulas that I've tried, and they are super cheap. They have so many good colours. My favourite is of course Natural. I mean, look how small mine is. That's a really good just everyday nude shade. And I have Leon as well, which is a bit more warm. This is a really nice one in the like autumn, because it's a bit more, come on camera, a bit more of like a warm kind of peach, a bit more of a warm peach. But yeah, really like that. These are great wooden pencils, quite similar to the MAC ones. And then I've got my lipsticks. I have my Charlotte Tilbury, I've got my lovely YSL ones, MAC, a couple of Givenchy, and then I have miscellaneous brands at the top. There's quite a lot of YSL ones that I really like. I obviously have my Charlotte Tilbury collection as well. My favourite formula from Charlotte Tilbury is her Kissing formula. So this is Bitch Perfect, which is a really nice kind of creamy peach, and you can just see the formula. It's just so beautiful. It has a really nice sheen to it, but they're not glossy lipsticks. They're just really lovely, really hydrating, and I think that is definitely one of my top favourite ever lipstick formulas. My Givenchy ones are, like, this packaging I think was limited edition a couple of Christmases ago. I have this really stunning red. I only have a couple of reds in my collection because surprise, surprise, I'm not always going about my day in a red lip. I wish I could be that person, but I'm just not. Shade is one of my favorites as well. It is a matte lipstick and it looks quite intimidating, but it's more of like a blotted matte lip. So you can kind of see there, it's not super pigmented. It kind of gives that like blotted, really nice, like blurred out, almost powdery finish to the lips. But this is a really lovely shade. This is in the shade 27. It is a permanent shade, it's just the packaging is limited edition. And the red, by the way, for reference, was 338. And I have my glosses and lip oils. Like my blush collection, glosses and lip oils are definitely what is expanding this section. I've got my Clarins here. Oh, I do actually have my other Clarins, which is my favorite, is in Strawberry. Really love these. The only downside is that they leak terribly. I can't put them in my bag, I can't travel with them because they do leak, which is a bit annoying, but I really love these. The formula is lovely. This is quite a nice, like, I mean, it looks orange, but it's actually just a really nice kind of light, got hair attached to it, light kind of peachy apricot. And you can just see there, it works really nicely with any kind of nude lip. It's just really pretty, and I love the formula and the smell. My e.l.f. one, again, I also really love this. This is a lot easier to travel with, it doesn't leak. So when I do travel, this is the lip oil that I will take with me. Has a very similar kind of big plush applicator. And I said I wasn't going to swatch a lot of things, but here we are. And yeah, that's just a lovely pink. And yeah, I really love these as well from the drugstore. I then have a little squeezy Laneige lip balm. And just a couple of other random ones. My Lisa Eldridge, I've got an Armani. I have 2 other Armani glosses, which must be in a handbag somewhere. And then I've got a Bobbi Brown there as well. And I think a Charlotte Tilbury hiding under there. But the lip oils are definitely what gets the most use out of this section. And then moving over into my eyeshadow palettes. Yes, a lot of these don't actually get a lot of use anymore. And they're kind of just here for nostalgia reasons. If I'm wearing eyeshadow, I'm typically reaching into one of my smaller palettes. I would say the ones I use probably the most out of here would be my Sigma Ambiance palette, which is just a lovely warm neutral palette. If you like warm eyeshadows, you know, this really does have everything that you would need. Very pretty. So that is one that I do use quite a lot still. And my Nabla Side by Side would be another one that I use. This is probably the newest eyeshadow, like bigger eyeshadow palette that I have in my collection. So it still feels nice and fresh. I really like the mattes in here actually. The mattes are really nice and probably what I reach for this palette for the most. Love this, again, it's a nice neutral palette. You've got some cool tone shades, some warmer shades. So it's just a nice mix. So that is it for my makeup collection, my kind of everyday drawer that I reach into on a daily basis whenever I'm doing my makeup. A lot more minimal than I think makeup collections once were. I know for me, I would have probably enough makeup to fill about 6 of these drawers, in all honesty, whereas now I think I would struggle to fill 3. So we've come a long way, and I think I'm quite happy with, I mean, I'm not going to say this is minimal, you know, by any means. There's still a lot more lip products, and I have a lot more blushes and things that anybody would need, but for me this is a lot more manageable, I suppose. I feel like a lot more creators nowadays have a collection of a similar size, where maybe there's a couple of categories which are a little bit more bulked out. For me, obviously lips and blush are still products that I love to buy. I just think they're very fun. But yeah, so that was my makeup collection. I really hope that you enjoyed. Maybe I'll do these like once a year or something. I don't remember when my last one was, but this will be like my 2025 updated collection. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.